Good morning, everyone. I am Jennifer Webb McCrae, and if you are from Cumberland County, I am your Cumberland County prosecutor. I am excited to welcome you to our virtual launch event, which will be live streaming to Facebook Live, to talk about a new program called the POP program that we are going to be doing in Cumberland County. POP stands for Problem-Oriented Policing. So we're going to welcome everyone who is joining in. We're proud to officially announce the public launch of this year-long youth research initiative aimed at achieving crime reduction and improving police-community relations throughout the county. The project is in collaboration with the Bridgeton Police Department, the Millville Police Department, the Vineland Police Department, the National Opinion Research Center at the University of Chicago, Rutgers University, my alma mater for law school, and Clarus Research. I want to thank the County Commissioner Board and Commissioner Director Joe Durella for their tireless support of my office and supporting me in endeavoring to non-traditional policing solutions to reimagine public safety. I want to acknowledge who I have from our local police departments on the call today. From Vineland Police Department, I have Captain Lene Bowers, who is representing Chief Pedro Casiano, along with Lieutenant Pagnini and Sergeant McCormick. From Millville Police Department, I have Chief Jody Farabella and Sergeant Rick Cott, who is of their community policing unit. And finally, last but not least, I have Bridgeton Police Department Chief Michael Gamari, and you're going to be hearing from him in a few minutes. The outline for today's briefing is that you're going to hear from some of the key stakeholders on their role in the project, and we are going to detail the components of the POP initiative. To begin, I want to talk about the fact that for my tenure here at the prosecutor's office, we know and understand that we have a responsibility to effectively prosecute crime, and that's our primary function. However, we are also in the unique position to serve our county by reimagining public safety, by addressing trending issues that stand in the way of a healthy, resilient community. I do have a longstanding commitment to programs that improve outcomes for at-risk youth. We welcome the opportunity to participate in programs like the POP program that will continue to improve police-youth relations and further reduce juvenile crime. County leadership continues to celebrate and invest in public safety and community well-being, because we know that investing in them serves for a better future for everyone. We are proud of the stakeholder collaboration that we've been able to achieve through our Cumberland County Positive Youth Development Coalition, which brings together over 81 groups to improve the outcomes for juveniles and keep them out of our juvenile justice system, because we know the youth are our future. We thank the project team for making an investment in Cumberland County youth for years to come. And I want to say, I personally thank all of my chiefs, Chief Farabella, Chief Gamari, and Chief Casiano, and their leadership for being committed to the same thing that I'm committed to, which is making Cumberland County as safe as possible and understanding that we can't arrest our way out of the social problems that we face in our county, and being a partner in community safety by working with front-end systems and on projects like this to improve community safety and healthy, positive outcomes for kids. At this time, you're going to hear from Dr. Bruce Taylor of the National Opinion Research Center, who's going to tell you a little bit more about the POP program in Cumberland County. Welcome, Dr. Bruce Taylor.
Thank you, Prosecutor. Most appreciate the welcome. And very happy to be here today to talk about the the project which we call POP for Youth, which is Problem-Oriented Policing for Youth, and wanted to note we thank our funder, the U.S. Department of Justice, specifically the National Institute of Justice, for providing the grant to do this research. So we are going to be working with Cumberland County on an innovative strategy called POP, as we've been talking about this morning. And that's an analytic method used by police to develop strategies that are designed to prevent and reduce crime. So it's designed to be proactive as opposed to reactive. For the study, POP involves the identification and analysis of specific youth crime and delinquency problems in Bridgeton, Millville, and Vineland in order to develop effective response strategies. The three departments will be systematically analyzing problems in each of their respective cities, working with the community to develop effective solutions to the problems and evaluating the impact of these efforts. So a real key component of the project is the integration of the community and providing input into sort of not only coming up with solutions, but also helping to define some of the key problems that are going on in the community, then working together with the police to address those problems. Today, POP is considered one of the most effective strategies being used by law enforcement agencies to combat crime. And it's been shown to be effective in reducing crime. In fact, our own work, where we've evaluated POP in Jacksonville, Florida, we found a 1/3 reduction in street violence, including homicide. So we believe the strategy is going to be very effective. And one of the questions that's come up is, that's not so well understood, is what is the impact of problem-oriented policing strategies on the sort of police-community relationships. So we have a good sense that it will reduce crime, but we also want to do that by still serving the community and meeting their needs, and showing that this is an integrated effort. So the purpose of the project is to test whether sort of these place-based strategies will, combined with training for patrol officers in youth interactions and crime prevention, can be implemented to achieve not only sort of crime reductions, but also broader benefits for the community in terms of improving quality of life in the community, including improving satisfaction with the police, and improving their sense of community. NORC recently launched, and we think we go by short NORC, as opposed to the National Opinion Research Center. And we just launched what we call the baseline version of the survey. And this is being done with residents between the ages of 12 and 24 in selected households are being asked to voluntarily participate in the survey, which assesses the community's perceptions of crime and interactions that they've had with the police departments. Youth participants from this age group will receive $20 in the form of an e-gift card or check for completing the survey. So there are some nice incentives for doing the survey. But you'll also be doing a great service to your county by doing the survey as well. So while they are voluntary, we certainly encourage people to have their voice heard in the survey. And we will be launching the project. Basically, the baseline surveys have started, and we'll be doing the surveys for another few months. And then the entire project will go for a full year as well, where we'll be studying the effects of the different interventions on POP. So please keep a lookout for the postcards that'll be coming, introducing the study and the links for the survey. Thank you very much.
So Dr. Taylor, this is an opportunity for our young people to make a little bit of money by providing a great community service to improve our local towns, right?
Absolutely, yes. We are very much interested in hearing their voices and documenting and analyzing those, for the purposes of making improvements.
And finally, I just want to confirm, because I know it's been happening, the POP initiative also has a component of training for our police officers. Is that correct?
That is correct indeed. Yes, we'll be providing training for officers in the POP process and using problem-oriented policing, and also be training officers in the latest science on youth and police interactions, drawing on sort of our understanding of child development and bringing that latest science to officers to use and benefit, and then also teaching officers some of the latest ideas around crime prevention as well.
And that's just wonderful because we can't be knowledgeable enough about what our youth face and how they process information. And a lot of studies I know are out there about the adolescent brain, and it's one of our duties as law enforcement executives to make sure that our officers understand that youth process things differently, and we should guide our actions based on that.
Absolutely. Yep.
Thank you.
Good research and science on that we'll be bringing to the project.
Thank you. And we are ecstatic to have you working with us and bringing your knowledge to Cumberland County. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now we're going to transition to Dr. Clifton Lacey. He is from Rutgers University. Again, my alma mater, so I'm very proud of Rutgers, and we're very happy to have you, Dr. Lacey. Welcome. You're on mute, so we need to take you off mute. There we go.
I will unmute.
Welcome, Dr. Lacey.
Thank you very much. So good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to participate in this event to publicly launch this important project to improve police-community relations and reduce crime in Cumberland County. As you heard, my name is Dr. Clifton Lacey. I'm a physician and a professor at Rutgers University with expertise and many decades of experience in healthcare and public health. And many of you probably know me as the former commissioner of the New Jersey Department of Health and Senior Services. I'm also the principal investigator of another project in New Jersey that's studying different case management interventions to reduce aggression and recidivism in youth violent offenders in the juvenile justice system. So let me begin these brief remarks by first congratulating Cumberland County Prosecutor Jennifer Webb McCrae, whose leadership and support of this project again demonstrates the prosecutor as both a visionary and down-to-earth practical when it comes to serving the people of Cumberland County, and to thank the rest of you, the police chiefs of Bridgeton, Millville, and Vineland, New Jersey, who are importantly collaborating on this project. The credit for the genesis and the design of this project goes to its principal investigator, Dr. Bruce Taylor, and to its project director, Dr. Weiwei Liu. Dr. Taylor's dedication to improving policing and youth police interactions is evident in his extensive track record of project successes, and it's a pleasure working with him on this. Critical to the success of this project has been the specialized project-related training of the police officers in Bridgeton, Millville, and Vineland. And credit for that goes to Rutgers partner TRA and its outstanding subject matter experts, George Sable and Rick Bombera, who are both former leaders in the New Jersey State Police. So innovative policing interventions grounded in youth-centered approaches have the potential to promote positive exchanges between youth and police officers, which can be life-altering, as police are typically the first point of contact that youth have in juvenile justice. For many youth around our state and around the country, the first of any justice-related encounter is through law enforcement. And this presents not only challenges, but presents great opportunities, since the characteristics of the interaction can have very significant and lasting effects on youth. Police officers can be both mentors and role models to promote positive outcomes and reduce problem behavior. Now, officers have many, many chances to interact with youth. Our police officers on this Zoom are well aware of that. There are over 15 million youth between the ages of 16 to 24 who annually have face-to-face contact with police. So the opportunities to interact with youth are great. But one of the challenges that has just been mentioned is that adolescent brains are underdeveloped compared with adults. And since the human brain doesn't fully mature until the mid to late 20s of age, youth thinking and behavior can be awry, can include lack of logical reasoning and problem-solving skills, impulsivity, risky decision-making, inability to comprehend potential negative consequences of actions, increased susceptibility to outside influences, and also the tendency to question and or fear authority. As is often the case, these behaviors, these traits, and these expressions of immaturity often lead to situations that can involve response from the justice system. Understanding this and improving communication, especially in a respectful, non-aggressive manner, can de-escalate these incidents, can establish appropriate rapport, improve trust, develop relationships, and make a significant positive impact on current behavior, as well as for the future of the youth. Another important factor is that youth are often exposed to violence, and they can become highly traumatized. It's been estimated that about a quarter of youth under the age of 18 reported witnessing violence. About 20% of those witnessed assaults on the streets or out in the community, and about 10% of those witnessed assaults in the home or within the family. So in their work, police officers have been trained to and need to take into account that these interactions often involve traumatized youth and children who are exposed to violence. And for this reason, a trauma-informed approach in which all parties recognize and respond to the impact of traumatic stress can facilitate relationships and ultimately affect positive change. This study examines the impact of a place-based, proactive, problem-oriented policing with and without specialized officer training in police youth interactions, and the effect on crime and on attitudes and perceptions of both law enforcement and youth. And it is our hope that the results of this study will have a positive impact on approaches to police-youth interactions and will generate effective practices that can be generalized nationwide. Thank you again for the opportunity to participate in this event.
Thank you, Dr. Lacey. One of the benefits that I saw in participating in this study was to be able to get to know and interact with people like yourself and Dr. Taylor, who are leading researchers and practitioners in cutting edge research with respect to the adolescent brain and with respect to how juveniles react to trauma and how trauma manifests itself in their behavior. So that's an added benefit that we get out of being a part of this study. And I would be remiss if I did not mention that I was thoroughly impressed when I also heard that you were the former leader of Robert Wood Johnson, because we here in Cumberland County are very interested in reimagining public safety, in shifting hearts and minds to understand that violence really is a health epidemic as well as a problem for law enforcement and criminal justice. And we just appreciate the efforts that both you and Dr. Taylor have poured into Cumberland County to make our county better. So thank you so very much.
It's a pleasure, and thank you for this collaboration.
Yes, and with that, I'm going to take another opportunity to give a shout out to my chiefs, because while you thanked me, they are just as much invested in doing things that start to deal and address issues that bleed into our system, but could possibly be solved if we did better in front end systems. And one of those ways is our youth tip program, which is our Handle with Care program, Youth Trauma Informed Protocol. And to have this initiative be able to educate our officers so that they understand why they are filling out Handle with Care forms and notifying schools of youth trauma interactions is so valuable to Cumberland County. But we could not do that without the cooperation of Chief Gamari, Chief Farabella, and Chief Cassiano. So we thank them for that. I'm giving them a shout out for all the hard work that they do. And I am going to introduce Chief Michael Gamari to speak on behalf of our chiefs. Welcome, Chief Gamari.
Thank you, Prosecutor, and thanks for the shout out. And obviously we've been committed to this, and myself originally as a captain with the Positive Youth Development Coalition. And the approach is as you said, on both ends. And this program addresses that even further. We, I've been a police officer for 34 years, and we are commonly taught and dealt with over the years the end result. But keep dealing it. People say you keep doing the same thing every day and expect things to change. They're not going to. So unless we address the youth and analyze the problems of why they're getting into trouble, I could say from experience in the city of Bridgeton, and I'm sure my partners in Vineland and Millville can do the same, where it becomes part of the family. I know family generations of children that have grown up in troubled households, and the children more often than not seem to take the same path as their parents, and in some cases their grandparents. If you've been here 30 years, that you see that coming through, and without addressing that at the jump in the school system and while they're youth. And I put validity into the fact that trying to keep our youth out of the system and don't indoctrinate them into this is how the way of life is. That is a positive. That is the best thing we can do. Obviously, there's times you can't do that, but as part of this project, the three officers in the three departments are going to be able to conduct proactive work across those targeted areas in our communities. We will work directly with the residents to identify their concerns in the community with a focus on that youth and crime prevention. The grant will also provide state-of-the-art training for our officers, which has already taken place, as well as an evaluation of the initiative. And the best part is it's no cost to the cities and the county. Why would we invest in our youth? I just kind of explained that. We have to work to keep the kids out of that school to prison pipeline. Instead, raising them to contribute to the community, stay in the community, stay out of the system, and live here and participate in the community activities. Too many times, and the other chiefs can attest to this, we become familiar with different elements of criminal activity, and they move. They move to Vineland or they move to Millville. But I believe we in law enforcement all know that trying to address these serious crime issues after they occur does not in and of itself solve the issues in our community. The root of many of these issues lie with our youth, and identifying the underlying reasons our city and county's young men and women are engaging in criminal activity, educating them prior to their involvement, and limiting their contact with the legal system and providing alternative choices is the key. You've been committed to this. I know Vineland and Millville and Bridgeton has been committed to this through our PAL programs and community policing, lunch with a cop programs. We've really addressed this issue over the past 5, 6, 7, almost up to 10 years now. But we can never stop. I mean, we have a major event that happened a couple of months ago in an unfortunate shooting in Fairfield Township. A lot of the people there were, of that younger age, not juveniles, but they were of that younger age, and there were children at that event who witnessed those things, and it becomes indoctrinated in their minds of what happened, and that can't be good as their development goes on. So I support the programming. Problem-oriented policing is not a new concept. It gets revisited, but I definitely agree with trying to nail it right in the bud and working to prevent the youth from getting even involved and dealing with them. And the doctor mentioned, and I took note of it. I would say the percentages of the youth witnessing or being involved or being a part or having knowledge of the serious incidents that happen in our municipalities is even greater in the urban areas. I mean, you threw out numbers like 10 or 20%, and I would have to jump them, sometimes almost double them in some of the urban communities of that knowledge. And the program the prosecutor mentioned also helps us. It gets the schools involved, and it gets the the youth talking about how they're feeling instead of keeping it inside. So on behalf of all of our chiefs, and I've talked to Chief Cassiano and Chief Farabello, we support the program jointly.
And an extra plus with the program is the grant provides an amount of funding to each of your police departments to execute some of the community outreach efforts. And that's $25,000 in Millville, $25,000 in Bridgeton, and $36,000 in the city of Vineland. We apportioned it based on population and tried to be fair with the ratio, but you're going to be able to use those funds to do community outreach and interaction with the youth to improve our community. So thank you to Bureau of Justice and NORC for that component of this program as well. And everything that Chief Gamari just talked about, he's not just talking about it, our chiefs walk the walk. We have been able to increase our station house adjustments over the last 7 to 8 years by 400%. So that's 4 times the amount of diversions that police officers were doing before we started our station house adjustment initiative to today. And that means that we are not bringing those kids into our system. We are diverting them from our system, getting them hooked up with chaplains, getting them hooked up with resources in the community so they can live healthy, positive lives. That is a testament to each one of our police departments' efforts over the years to not bring kids into our system where we often know it's hard to get out of. So thank you so much to you, Chief Gamari, and to Chief Farabello, and to Chief Cassiano for continuing that very important effort. So in closing, I would like to thank the NORC, the Bureau of Justice, Dr. Taylor, Dr. Lacey, also former retired Officer Sable, for their participation in this program as well, and encourage you to look for more information on each of your police department's social media pages once we start the surveys and once we start the outreach efforts that this grant is going to fund. Thank you so much to all of our participants today, and thank you to the public for listening and supporting us in our efforts in our community. Have a safe and healthy rest of your day.